Boris Johnson will be forced to cave in on staging indyref2, Ian Blackford has insisted, claiming that UK cabinet ministers have privately conceded the Prime Minister's opposition to a second poll is unsustainable. The SNP's leader at Westminster even suggested Mr Johnson himself knew, in his heart of hearts, that his iron resistance to facilitating a second poll on Scotland's future would ultimately be broken. "This dam will burst," he declared. In an exclusive interview with the Herald at the beginning of a year in which the constitutional debate will be to the fore, Mr Blackford accepted that, with a Tory government bolstered by an 80-seat majority, the SNP would have to up our game. This, he suggested, was the reasoning behind his reshuffle of his Commons frontline team last week to place the focus on engagement with external organisations, whether that's at home or abroad, indicating the SNP is set to try and garner support for its independence cause, including indyref2, from allies across the EU. "We will make sure we are building the case both for Scotland to be independent and for the right to have that independence referendum at home and abroad. So, we are simply not going to let this go," declared Mr Blackford. His comments come after Scottish Secretary Alistair Jack yesterday said Mr Johnson would block indyref2 even if the SNP won an outright majority at next year's Holyrood election. He told BBC Scotland's Sunday Politics show, "We do not think that 2021 is the time to start having more referendums. They're very divisive for our society." It was a U-turn on his position in November, when Mr Jack said another SNP majority would, as in 2011, constitute a democratic mandate for a referendum. Instead, Mr Jack said one of Ms Sturgeon's future successors would have to wait until a generation or a lifetime had passed before the no result of 2014 was revisited. Mr Blackford's insistence that the PM will be forced to give way on indyref2 comes after tens of thousands of people took part in a pro-independence protest march in Glasgow at the weekend, the first of 8 marches being planned by the group all under one banner. Keith Brown, the deputy SNP leader, who took part in Saturday's protest, said, "If the UK remains a democracy, then Scotland must have the right to choose. Plain and simple." Rebecca Long-Bailey, tipped by some as the favourite candidate for the Labour leadership, told Sky News' Sophie Ridge on Sunday that she was fully committed to the union and was not in favour of a second independence referendum, but suggested, if she became PM, she would review indyref2, noting, "I wouldn't want to inhibit the democracy of people." Scottish Labour leader Richard Leonard suffered a setback after the party's executive on Saturday rejected his proposal for a special conference on F. For more on this story, visit the news article link.